Good morning, everybody. Well, I guess we're having a Wednesday. So I just wanted to check in. We're going to do this weekly update, and I'm trying to stick to it so that I can update with my sales and update to see how week to week's going, because hopefully we can all relate to one another on, ups and downs of reselling life. So if you haven't ever joined before, this is just my personal updates, but we also have our group for reseller revenue content that's on this channel. So check it out too if you'd like to. We're all resellers. A lot of us are full-time resellers. I sell jewelry full-time, but I started in 2021 selling everything with my son at the time when we just did a little bit of everything. We had a store up to like I think 2,000 items. And then we basically didn't have a great inventory system, and we're always constantly not being able to find things, one of those big learning lessons. So took the store down to zero, and he started selling watches on his own, which he still does some of and does really well. And then I just went to jewelry in July of 2022. I knew nothing about selling jewelry. I knew nothing about jewelry. I don't wear jewelry. So it's been a learning curve. It's been a lot of learning, and I really enjoy that niche now. And I do recommend, after doing both, a niche is, if you're going to be full-time, a niche is helpful because you can really just dive in and educate yourself on that subject. So I'm hoping to hit 250,000 gross sales this year, selling just mostly vintage jewelry, but some contemporary. I'm not sure if I'm gonna hit it or not. I'm hovering right around the 80K 90 day most of the time, but it wasn't that way at the beginning of the year, so I'm not sure how it'll pan out. But that's kind of my first end goal. And I try to be totally transparent with my numbers and show. Now I'm going to try to make sure I'm doing it weekly, but if you look back at past videos, I share my dashboard. I don't mind sharing my cost of goods. I don't mind sharing my, ups and downs in sales, because that's what it's all about. So if you don't see how people's cost of goods and net profits are, then you really don't know how they're really doing, right? You can throw around big numbers all you want, but if your net is negative or your net isn't good, then what's the point? You're working for free. So I've gotten some comments about my audio is not always great or my video is not always great. I get it. However, I'm 99% reseller and maybe 1% content creator. So reselling is where my money, time, and attention goes to. And I just jump on here to share whatever I think I can to be helpful to others. So sorry, I don't I'm not going to dive into a bunch of trying to improve that quality. Maybe if you don't watch me, it'll help and you can just listen. I don't know. But anyway, my content's the same. So hopefully it's not bothering everybody too bad. I appreciate people that hang in there for sure. So I've been kind of having a last week where I felt like I had a great week. I felt like the 8th through the 14th, which would be our 7-day cycle since the last update video. And I feel like it was really great. And then I look and I pull my reports and I'm like way down. So that's kind of one of those things where, unless we're actually running the numbers and paying attention, sometimes our perception is not reality. So here we're going to share my dashboard quick, and hopefully everybody else is having a great week. I wouldn't say I had a bad week, but I didn't have as good a week as I thought I was. So here's my dashboard. This is from the September 8th to September 14th. And as you can see here, compared to the 1st through the 7th, I am down 20%, with total sales being 65.50 and my net sales being 34.70. My net sales are down even worse, so 25%. So, but it is what it is, right? And my ASP is down 23%. I did sell more items though. So to me, that's a big red flag. That's a problem. So I sold not way more, but I sold about the same amount of items for 20% less money. Not exactly what I'm going for, but that's where we're at. So the buyers, I had 159 total buyers. You guys know that I'm really always trying to hit that 25% of repeat buyers, which isn't necessarily what I actually hit, but that's always been my goal, to have a quarter of my buyers be repeat buyers. But I still had 11.9% that was repeat buyers, so that's okay. I'm happy with that. Here I can see that my promoted sales, so it shows my total promoted sales, you know, my organic sales is actually increased some, so I'm okay with that. I feel like I need to run promotions. I promote high. Everybody knows that because I'm in a saturated category. And so to be able to compete with my category, I need to be able to promote. So 87.2% of my sales were promoted this time. Only 12.8 were organic. I'm good with that. It's what's getting me the money. So here, right here is a really easy place to be able to show how your insights are on best offers and stuff. So 43 of those sales were that I sent an offer and they accepted. 102, they sent me an offer and I accepted. So obviously, a lot of my business is based on offers, and that shows right there that 178 of those were sold with promoted listings. Everything's fine. Everything's good with that. Let's see some of the highlights of the month. And these are not in order of like really great. I just wanted to call attention to some of them. Here, if you guys saw, I did a call on selling glasses, vintage glassware as far as eyeglassware, and I sell a lot of it. And they're not like super crazy prices, but I mean, they're pretty consistent in that $30 range, sometimes more. So if you haven't watched that video, please go back and find my eyeglass video. It's got a lot of good information. Here's the Chinese articulated pendant with the enamel fish. I'm telling you, these enamel fish are just winners. I don't know. They sell really good. They sell fast. Keep your eye out for them. There is a difference between like this one and the really cheap knockoff ones. So this one's a little bigger. It's articulated all the way through. It's got the clear paint on the scales. So just you can kind of tell when you get the really cheap knockoff version. So, but the good ones, they sell really well. Well, that one didn't want us to share because it's got an error. So, all right, I shared this one because, it's a great day when you can get 50 bucks for a JJ brooch. So I knew that this one was rare. How did I know? Because I research every day in my niche. So I knew that this one sold for more money and that it was rare. And I listed it August 15th and it sold this last week. So not too bad. I went to an auction where I saw these catalogs and they were literally selling for dollars, not very much for all of them. It's a huge one. I still have several left that I can list, and it sold for 50 bucks. So that was not bad at all. This was a vintage cameo bracelet. You can also see that I'm not super fancy with my titles. It was gold filled. It was a size 7. It was pretty simple, but it was very pretty. I could have probably held out and got maybe a little bit more money, but I'm very happy with the money I got out of it, and it was listed on August 21st. This one I'm sharing because if you saw that laying on a table at a garage sale, you may think nothing of it. It's very simple, but those lariat styles, even if they're not signed, will sell. And then you add some tassels on and you have everybody excited about it. So this was a lariat. It was also Napier and it was in very good condition. And I listed it August 19th. This one is a cameo gold-filled locket. I love little gold-filled lockets. This one I think had some condition issues, but it wasn't terrible, but it did have some of the wear on the gold. It was listed July 21st, so not necessarily a fast seller, but when I did my 33% off sale, it shook loose and it sold. It had a little instant relative in there too. This was just an ordinary clear rhinestone brooch, nothing super exciting, except that it was very well made and it had really nice quality. So I did price accordingly. Sometimes the clear rhinestone stuff is hard to sell. This one, I don't know, it looked different. It felt a little different and it was just made very nicely. Let's see if we have a picture of the back. Had all open back. It was just a nice piece. And I listed it July 17th also. Here is a Hollycraft, very nice necklace. I popped that stone out when I was wiping it down. I don't fix things. I don't mess with the glue. I don't want to be like stuck to everything and have glue strings all over all my stuff. So I leave it to people that are good at that and coordinated, which is not me. So very nice necklace, still sold for good money, but it was definitely a nice Hollycraft. This was a Heidi Doss umbrella brooch. It sold the same day I listed it, so I probably could have priced it up a little bit, but I'm all about a quick sale. So it was a nice little cute brooch. This actually was one of the items that I found in my inventory that wasn't up, and I thought it was listed. So found it and got it listed and sold the same day. So check on your inventory, people. It might not be okay. I had some missing that I thought were relisted. I think a lot of them were items that when somebody cancels an order and it asks if you'd like to relist for free, I think sometimes it doesn't always relist for free. So I think that that was my issue, a big part of my issue. So check on those. This was a very nice locket with paste stones. It had a celestial type of etching on it. It was just a really nice piece. It was missing a stone, and I think it was missing more than one stone, but that one in the middle, it actually left a hole in it, which was kind of a shame. But here's how those are set in there, and I liked being able to see that, but see how it left a big hole in there where the stone was missing? I did disclose that issue and it still sold. I listed it September 3rd, so it didn't take very long for it to sell. Here's the junk drawer lot. I love those $100 boxes going out the door. And you guys know that I do not spend a lot of time on my junk boxes as far as prepping and taking pictures. You just get what you get type of thing. And there's a lot of great stuff in my junk boxes because it's anything I don't want to list. So depending on what I got that week, it might be all broken. It might be all wearable. It might be in between. So you just never know what's in my junk boxes. But a lot of it's just stuff I don't want to list, to be honest with you. I listed this on September 3rd. It sold as soon as my 33% sale went on. It was in remarkable condition. Sometimes we get those and they are cruddy and they're just not very good, or the elastic or the expandable parts all worn out. This one was in very nice condition. And if you are listing these, make sure you put the name of the bracelet in the title. And the Sweetheart World War II is the keyword to get those sold. And you can, yeah, this one was just in really nice condition. I probably could have held out for the 199 and gotten it, but it was good. I was happy with it. So those were my sales this week. I was down. I'm not gonna let it get to me. It's fine. It can't just keep going up every week. We're gonna have ups and we're gonna have downs, and it also depends on what kind of promotions you're running. That can affect our net across the board. So I play with promotions and discounts a lot, and just to see what works for my bottom line the most. I live off this money. This is bill money. This isn't fun money. Check out, I do a lot of calls, and with the group Reseller Revenue on Patreon, I do a lot of calls that have to do business oriented. So you will find a lot of good information about not only jewelry, but I'm very much numbers. You got to know your numbers. I just did a video on that isn't out yet. That, come on guys, let's talk about what our numbers were for the month. So my monthly numbers for August, the biggest glaring issue I had wasn't necessarily the money, but I sourced I want to say 729. That may not be 700 and some items. I sold 800 items and I listed 1,200 items. That's rounding, but so the problem with that is I'm sourcing less than I'm listing and less than I'm selling. So I need to up my sourcing game, and I'm one that doesn't like to oversource. I don't like spending the money, to tell you the truth, and I'm picky. So I need to up my sourcing game, especially if I want to continue increasing my listings. I want to start maybe in November increasing my listings some more, and then again in January or February. If I want all that to happen, I got to up my sourcing for sure. So I had a queue still, so that's kind of bailing me out of my sourcing. I didn't feel like I was under sourcing, but I do track every item that I source so that I know. Mostly so I don't oversource, but it's just as important to know if I'm under sourcing. So I got through my 100-pound box of jewelry that I picked up. I ended up with like 252 individually listable items. And I think 9 of the medium flat rate boxes for over $100 craft lots. So it was a great purchase. There was a lot of, obviously a lot of stuff I didn't want to sell in there, but then I just turned them into sellable medium flat rate boxes, $100 bills a piece. And I think I paid $500 for the 100-pound lot. And it ended up working out so that the stuff I did list ended up being about $2 a piece. So it ended up great. It was just a lot of work, but I just sat down and got through it. So it wasn't like haunting me forever, and it was just off my plate and gone. So I learned a really good life lesson yesterday that don't eat chocolate covered espresso beans like M&Ms because I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die, but I didn't. So yay for that. And I didn't learn my lesson either because I just ordered 5 more pounds. I also learned trying to take, because I'm not a content creator, guys. I'm not a big YouTuber. I'm a reseller, and I was trying to take a few more headshots this morning. And so, the guy that helps me do my thumbnails is always like, oh, lift your eyes and good expression. And then I realize every time I lift my eyes like an expression, my forehead turns into a roadmap. So, it just is what it is, guys. So if you're out there and you're struggling and you're trying to make your sales, whether you're in jewelry or you're in clothing or whatever it is, I absolutely think anybody can do this full time if they're willing to put the work in and they're willing to adapt to certain, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's lots of people that are super successful that do it completely different than me. I can help you down a path of what I know works and what doesn't work. I can give you individualized one-on-one coaching for that. We can go over your books and your numbers one-on-one. I open up a couple days a week to individual one-on-one coaching. So there is sometimes a little bit of a wait, but we also meet every morning, Monday through Thursday in the Patreon group, and I'm always more than willing to help you out there. And we take questions every day, and I try to help the members as much as I can. We do sourcing coaching where you can pay $50 and send me up to 25 lots or items in a month period. And I will tell you, yes, I would have sourced this. No, I wouldn't have sourced it, and why, or what I would pay for it. That's mostly a jewelry thing. I'm good at helping people with the jewelry category mostly. And but we're just a really good community, and I just really believe that people can do this. And if we get the main foundations down of reselling, you can do it in a way that works best for you and that fits your lifestyle, but we have to be willing to put the work in. That's the most thing, and being consistent. eBay is consistent with me when I'm consistent with eBay. I know I say that a lot, but it's so true. And the oversourcing thing seems to be a killer, especially in the jewelry category, because it's so easy to just keep dumping that jewelry in a box. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, that box is where all my profit is. So I can help you with this. We can help you with this. And I really believe anybody can do this full time if they set their mind to it. So I appreciate it. Check out some of my other videos we have both with the group, and I do jewelry videos and business videos, just one-on-one like this too. Again, I'm sorry that my video quality is not always great. It's just really not my focus, but I do want to continue sharing with people. So I appreciate that you guys overlook the bad quality sometimes. So check out Reseller Revenue on Patreon, and I appreciate it.